Hello and welcome to the second episode of Teens on the Road, the one and only podcast for full-time RVing teenagers. I'm your hostess, Kayla, and here with us today is fellow nomad, Bella. Hi and welcome to the show.
Hey!
So, Bella, where are you right now?
Right now, we are in Florence, Oregon.
Cool. Is that, close to California?
It's pretty close. We left California the other day. It's midway up the coast.
Nice. What was the last thing you did?
They have a little Old Town area, so first thing this morning we came down here and we got some coffee and just kind of hung out for a little while.
That sounds so nice. Is it still snowing up there?
It is not, at least not on the coast. It is in the mountains, but we did not want to go anywhere with snow.
Right. So, we're going to talk about you for a little bit.
Okay.
So what is your family's story? What prompted you guys to start traveling?
A lot of it was COVID. A lot of it was kind of a natural progression. We had thought about it for a pretty long time, but especially with COVID and not being able to travel like we had before, we were getting kind of bored, I guess. It was just saying, because
right?
we were big travelers, especially like overseas and stuff, and so just not being able to go anywhere was pretty hard. And this had always just been a thought for my mom, but she talked to me about it and I was on board. And so we just we did it. We did it really quickly and we moved in and then we moved out.
Nice. Yeah. So you are about to go to college, right?
Yes, I am.
And you guys are still living in the RV?
Yes.
So what is your plan for that?
So my mom actually wants to get a permanent residence. So right now we use a mail service, and that's what I use for my address. But even applying to colleges, it made the process kind of hard because I couldn't actually really get my mail. So she wants a permanent address. Traveling full time on her own, she's not so sure about. So she's going to be part time. So I'm from Virginia. Where I'm going to college is about 3 hours away from there. So we're actually going to get a place not in the same town, but in that same region. And then she'll just kind of go back and forth, and then that way I have somewhere to go for breaks because she won't necessarily always be near where I'm going to school. But she also might be. So we don't really know yet. We'll see.
That's cool. So which college are you going to?
George Washington University. It's in D.C.
Nice. So when you first moved into the RV, was that a big change for you?
In some ways, yes. It was definitely a lot smaller.
Right.
Personal space went down a lot, which was, or is, I guess, still kind of an adjustment. But I think especially with COVID, since we moved in during COVID, it wasn't a huge shift in certain parts because I hadn't been seeing people a lot. Most of my activities weren't happening anymore.
Right.
So in that way, it wasn't a huge shift.
Okay, so was the personal space thing your biggest hurdle to overcome?
Kind of, yes.
Yeah.
So we're in a Class C. So my room is the bunk above the cab. So it's not very big. I can't sit up. So that was kind of hard. I think our biggest adjustment too was I would end up taking over the little living room area, like the couch and the table and stuff, because I couldn't sit on my bed, do all my schoolwork there and just sit there whenever we were home. And my mom was like, well, now I can't use the family room. So that was kind of getting adjusted to the space is hard.
Yeah, I know. I miss having a desk so much. I didn't realize I would miss having a desk, but I have to go to 50 different places to get a pencil, to get all my books, to get my lap desk, my headphones to focus, everything I need, and it's just all over the place. And I often will find myself sitting down and then I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot something.
Yes. And
Happens
once you
every
get kind of
day.
set up and then you're like, dang it, I have to
Yeah.
move the whole setup over.
It's like when you forget the remote when you're already like covering blankets on and
Yeah.
watching TV. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so I keep most of my school stuff in a bin. We ours had like the couch table thing, you know, that switches back and forth, and
Yeah,
then a jackknife sofa, and we took that out and put a table and some storage in because we did not have any inside storage.
okay, nice.
So I have like one bin, and that's where I can put my school stuff and then kind of any of my overflow things. So at least I kind of have one area,
Yeah.
but pencils and pens and erasers and my calculator and paper is all in the back. Like it's still kind of nuts. It's all spread out.
Yep. So, do you have any current or recent struggles besides lack of personal space and obviously missing your desk?
Honestly, we're tired. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Um, Especially since it's me and my mom. I have a lot of like I do the water and the electrical hookup, like when we get places, and hooking up. We tow my car. I have a tiny Volkswagen Beetle.
Huh?
So when we were moving out, we decided to keep my car. It was a lot easier to tow. It's good for in cities, and I love her so much. So selling her for me wasn't really an option.
Does she
So
have a name?
she does. Her name is Blue.
Oh.
Yeah. And then, oh, and our RV is Luna.
Oh,
Because
that's
we
cute.
bought her at like 9:00 at night. But so we tow that, and hooking, we have a trailer. So hooking her up and putting her on and doing the lights, and that's all my job too. And but just kind of the constant moving is starting to get tiring.
Yeah, sometimes you just need a break, you know?
And since we're so close to me leaving, we're like, we have so much we have to see still. So we're like kind of booking it through
Trying to
some
cram it in.
things. Yeah. Because I
Yeah.
had never been to Oregon before. My mom wants to go to see Seattle, and then we also have like reservations in Vegas. So we're like, how the heck are we supposed to get down there? It's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
It can be a lot,
But
especially since
it's
you guys have
amazing
like a
though.
deadline. It
Yeah.
is still amazing, yeah. It's just like kind of like it can feel busy and then when you're in the moment it's amazing. It's just such an up and down thing.
Yeah. Because like you'll get to a point where you're like, okay, I want to be done. Like I miss having a door to my room, you know?
Yeah.
And then you're
Yeah.
like, but I want to see this, and I want to see this, and I want to see that, and I want to go there, and I need to do this, and it's just, you're like, dang it, I can't stop.
I know. I always tell people it's such an extreme lifestyle. Like
Yeah,
it's got extremely good parts and it's got extremely bad parts. Like
definitely.
you could be having the best time of your life in the prettiest national park and then the next day your power goes out and you're like screwed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or you run out of propane and you're like, it's 30 degrees at night. This is
Oh
not going
yeah,
to be
exactly.
pleasant.
Yeah, or I can't cook my food on the stove.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Totally. So, do you have any advice for other teens on coping with that?
I would say if you don't have a deadline, if you're not like me, then just prioritize going slower, which I know as a teenager you can't necessarily do because it's really up to your parents about where
Right.
you're going and when. But if you need a break, tell them. Because it gets kind of crazy, and once you hit college applications and school, it gets busy, and it's hard to feel like you have any time when the only time you're not out doing something, you're at home doing schoolwork.
Yeah.
So try and kind of, time management is not necessarily my best skill, but that I feel like it's gotten better a little bit, because if I don't get it all done, then I don't get it done. Like there's nothing I can really do about it. So, but just if you need a break, talk to your parents, try and prioritize slowing down a little bit.
Yeah. Like this lifestyle isn't so that you necessarily see everything or do everything that you want to do. It's about enjoying it while you're there and being in the moment.
Yeah. And since when we moved out, since when we moved out, we knew that we only had a year and a few months because we moved out over the summer. So we had or really late spring, like early summer. So we knew we only had so much time. Like I always knew I was going to college, and so we definitely pushed hard because there is so much to see and there's so much to do. And so we definitely started out at a pace that wasn't sustainable. So that's kind of contributing to feeling tired now because we've just been going for a while.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I have done so much, and I don't think I would go back and change really anything about how fast we are going in the pace, but it is definitely draining. So if you have more time, you don't need to go as fast.
Yeah, definitely. So you've been on the road for how long?
I think we're at 10 months, so not that long.
Tell everybody how many states you've been to.
Oh gosh. I think we're in the 40s.
Okay, so that is crazy to me. You guys have seriously been booking it. Like, I'm impressed.
Well, so we did the East Coast, and we just like went up and down, and then we went all the way from Key West to mid-Maine, because I had been to Maine and Canada before, so we just wanted to go to the places that we liked, that we like remembered and stuff. So we did mid-Maine, and then we've gone all the way across. We did Baja, Mexico. So we went all the way down, like through Big Bend in Texas and down into Baja and up through California and up to Oregon. And we've done some of the middle states too. But not as many. We went through like Kansas and Oklahoma and that kind of area.
Right. That is still a lot. Like, that's impressive, guys. Good job.
Thanks. When you look back on it, you're like, that was a lot.
Yeah. So out of all of your 40 states, what do you think are your top 3 or 5 favorite places?
Okay, so it's not one of the states, but Baja, Mexico. Hands down.
Where you ate Baja tacos, right?
Yes, hands down. The coolest place. We went to, it's Guerrero Negro. It's the most south we went. It's where the gray whales, they come up and down the coast, and that's where they go to like have their babies and have their young and stuff.
Did you see baby whales?
I touched a baby whale.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
That's awesome.
They do this thing down there, and from what I found, no one actually knows why. It's just this thing that they like teach their babies. Like the whales just come up to the boats, and they'll like, they want you to pet them basically. Like if you ignore them, they kind of pout and like they'll leave. And they'll like bring their babies up to the boat and just be like, hey, look what I did. It's kind of funny.
Exactly. They're like, all right, kids, free food up there, go there.
That was honestly the most amazing. They're huge and they're so careful because you're in these like little fishing boats, and when you look at the pictures, a little freaky, but when you're there, they're so careful with like their tails, because their tails are like as big as the boat. Right. And so they like tuck them down, and then they won't, like, they're just gentle. And one of them bonked the boat, and it was really funny because it like stuck its head up and was like, you good? You good? Sorry. Okay.
They're like gentle giants.
Yes.
They just seem so sweet.
They are so cool. There was no competing with that. So Baja has to be like 100% my favorite, just because that was the most insane experience.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You have any other places?
Vermont was really cool. We went to Stowe, Vermont, but we went in the summer. So I did some really cool hikes, and the town was really cute, and they had a coffee school right outside of Stowe. School? Yeah, and that was like the best coffee ever. They had a maple latte, iced latte. It was so good. So like that kind of That was so good.
Wow.
So Stowe was really fun.
So, like, you can't go to Starbucks ever again.
No. Like, that was, it was so good.
It's funny. Yeah, a lot of people love Vermont, and I can't wait to go. I don't know when we will,
so
but one day.
pretty.
Yeah.
I don't know if, unless I was going to ski, I wouldn't go in an RV in the winter, just because the roads going up, they weren't bad. We've definitely been on worse ones, but they were kind of small, a little windy, definitely mountains.
Right.
The campground that we stayed at was beautiful, but I wouldn't go in the winter just with the snow and ice and stuff.
Right.
But in the summer, there's all this, like, there are all these rivers because you're in the mountains. So there are all these, like, mountain creeks and rivers and waterfalls and some really cool hikes. So if you go when it's kind of warm because you can do all this cool outdoor stuff.
Yes, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
All right. So, what is one place that you would never want to go to again?
Oh, okay. No offense, Ohio, but it's not that I would, like, never go again because it was, like, the worst experience. It was perfectly fine. We went, we were kind of up north. We went to, we were going across. We wanted to do roller coaster. Like, you know, we just kind of, we had to go through. We took a few down days, but it just wasn't, I don't know. There just, like, wasn't much more to, I feel like, to do. There's just a lot of regular old towns. So I probably wouldn't prioritize going back there again, but I wouldn't say that I hated it or anything. It just wasn't
your
I don't
favorite.
know. It's just not on the list to go back to. But if I end up going back for whatever reason, sure. It was pretty. There was a lot of green. It just wasn't stuff.
Particularly special.
Yeah.
Sorry to Ohioans out there. We mean no offense.
Yeah, no, the people were pretty cool, but I don't know. They had a good grocery store. That's kind of it.
All right, then. So, do you have a bucket list for the future of places that you haven't gone but you would like to go?
Yes, I have so many. It's in my next time. So, actually, when we were in Mexico, we met some very cool people that we went with, but one of them, she kept saying, just add it to your next time list. And I'm like, my next time list is so long.
I know, right?
There's stuff in the US, but then there's also basically every country ever is also on the list. But I want to go back to the Keys.
Oh, yeah?
That was so much fun. We spent 2 weeks down there, I think a little over 2 weeks, in October. And it was so hot, and it was so nice.
Yeah,
it was just
we were there in February, actually.
Yeah?
What was your favorite place there?
So we stayed at the military base on Key West.
Fort Taylor one?
It wasn't Fort Taylor. It's the same base, but the one that we stayed on it's like a little island just off Key West, and you go into Key West, and then you take this little bridge situation to a slightly separate island. I forget what it's called, but so that was, being really close was really nice. But I don't know, we just had a lot of fun there. It wasn't as crazy as we thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Like Key West, you know, it kind of has a connotation of being like this, like, really big party place and everything.
Right.
But it really wasn't, honestly.
Yeah.
It was just a lot of people having fun, but not necessarily in, like, a getting very rowdy and, like, partying a lot kind of way.
Yeah, it was just like adults having fun.
Yeah, and it was really nice. And also the beaches, you know?
Yeah.
I love the beach girls, so that was just really nice being able to go, like, every day.
Yes, the beaches there were really nice. I especially liked the Fort Zachary Taylor one.
Yes.
Like, we had no idea about that. And then we tried to go to St. Helen, or it was via Hyundai or something.
Oh, yeah.
And they were like, there's some parasites in the water, so you can't snorkel here. But Fort Taylor's fine. So we just spontaneously went there, and it was, like, extremely beautiful. So for all of you going to Key West, go to Fort Taylor for swimming. It's great.
Yeah. We went there one day, and it was really pretty. It was good. It was nice, and it wasn't super packed. A lot of the
Yeah.
beaches there can get very busy because there's, not that many. It's a small island. So that was pretty nice that it wasn't that busy. Like, there was space.
So did you go to Cuban Coffee Queen?
Yes, we did. On the way down,
the Cubans were so good, right?
Yeah.
Did you try Cuban?
Yes. So one of my mom's like best friends is Cuban, and so we got her a little mug. It was cute. It was like the Cuban Coffee Queen mug, but
that's sweet.
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
I gotta say.
Yeah, we had tried Cuban sandwiches all around Florida, but these were the best.
I didn't get a sandwich.
Ooh. Oh, you didn't? So
no,
bad.
we were walking around like the little downtown area, and we just wanted a break. So like we were like, oh, coffee, okay, coffee, and then, oh my gosh, coffee. Didn't realize how good it was.
Right.
Yeah.
That should be the title. Coffee with Bella.
Honestly, I could probably map where we've been based on the coffee. So, like, the coffee here was meh. The coffee there was good. The coffee in Vermont, on the other hand.
Right. Well, that's awesome. So, what is so living in an RV, you kind of have to like condense everything.
Yes.
Have you found a hack or an RV gadget that you would recommend to other people?
Honestly, I would say don't organize your clothes the way that I did, especially in the beginning.
Expand upon this?
So what I did is I have that bunk above the cab, and then I have the 2 storage cabinets to the right of the bunk next to the door. They're like the overhead ones, and those were my storage areas. So what I did was I just got bins, like these fabric ones at Target, I think. And I was like, okay, one for pants, one for shorts and shirts, and one for like pajamas or whatever. And then up on my bed, I got a couple more bins. I was like, okay, and I just organized my stuff that way. That did not work as well as I wanted it to, because the bunk area is not very big. And I know a lot of different RVs have bunk situations that aren't above the cab. So if you're in a bunk, like it can be small. Right. And so getting into the bins to keep them organized, not great. So, because I was just like, okay, I can't reach the one in the back without like climbing up, laying on, like turning around. It's like a whole process.
Yeah, it's a situation.
So, that wasn't great. So actually, I can't remember where we were. We went to some random store and bought different bins, and I got, because they're really ugly, so I got like chalk spray paint and like spray painted them in the woods behind the campground and redid my entire like organization system. And so it's a little bit better that way. Still not great, but livable.
Right. Okay, cool. And so I wanted to start this thing where my next guest would get asked a question by the previous guest. So Elizabeth from the last episode has a question for you.
Okay.
What is the funniest or craziest assumption about travelers that you have heard?
Well, I get asked regularly, wait, shouldn't you be in school? So there's that one. Especially now that I'm like going to college and I like have the college like sweatshirt and that kind of stuff. Like, people are asking me about it more, and they're like, wait a minute, shouldn't you be in school? And then I have to do the whole explanation, and it's just,
exactly,
which is fine. Like, I get it. Most people, even when I was homeschooled before we started traveling, so there wasn't like any transition with that.
Yeah, same.
So I'm used to the wait a minute, what the heck are you doing?
I know.
Kind of question, but that's not so much fun. But it's not, the worst.
It's just like an often like having to explain it over and over again.
I'm really tall, so I get asked all the time, do you play basketball? Do you play volleyball? Do you model? No, and no. So, like,
I model for myself.
Yeah. So it's not a bad question. It's not like rude necessarily. It's just, if it was one person, it'd be like whatever, but it's every day.
Right.
Every week.
How tall are you?
I'm 6 foot exactly. So
Wow.
yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah. So like I get asked that regularly because it's kind of the first thing you see. You're like, wow, that girl is tall. But and then it's
Yeah.
also that girl should be in school. So
I know. It's
yeah.
like they think we're like, I don't know, our parents are like abusing us or something. It's weird.
Yeah, it's well, I mean, it's because a lot of people's only exposure to homeschooling is certain cases where people used homeschooling as an excuse to
Yeah.
not send their kids to school.
Right.
But
Or they only know it as for like hippies. That was my mom's experience.
before my mom started homeschooling me, I think it was kind of the like very conservative Christians who didn't want their kids in a public school or even a private school.
Right.
So that was what kind of I thought of it was. But one of my best friends when I was little, they were homeschooling. So I was like, this is cool. Kind of like this. And then, so I started homeschooling pretty young. So I know I get where people are coming from, but it's still annoying.
Yeah. It's just not something going to be asked all the time.
Yeah. Yep.
And then the next thing it's like, what about friends, What about your friends?
Yes. I have friends. I know this is
Yeah.
crazy to you, but I do have friends. I have friends
Yeah.
who go to public schools. I also have friends that I met through homeschooling. I have friends that I met through dance. I have friends that I met through living in an RV. Like, you just
I'm not
make
socially
friends.
deprived.
Yeah. I think honestly it'll be helpful though because when you make all your friends through school, and then if you go to college or if you don't go to college, if you go to college, then you make your friends through college. But if you don't, or after college, you aren't in a school environment where you're forced to see the same people every day
Right.
to make friends with. So I feel like we probably have an advantage on learning how to just make friends and get to know people that you're not forced to see every single day.
Right. We have to like get out of our comfort zone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right. Well, do you have any questions for me or any closing thoughts?
How long have you guys been on the road? I actually don't know.
We have been on the road since last May, so we're coming up on a year soon.
Yeah, so right around the same time, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Totally.
What is your favorite place you've been to?
Well, we have a few. So the most beautiful place is definitely Glacier National Park.
Yes, we're going soon. I think, maybe. I don't know.
You're gonna love it. It's beautiful. Yeah. So yeah, that was definitely number one. And then Santa Fe, New Mexico was actually really cool.
New Mexico is very pretty.
Yeah, but like Santa Fe itself is like a really cool town. It had a lot of culture, and the Georgia O'Keeffe Art Museum was really cool.
We wanted to go, but it was closed the day that we went. We only went one day. We drove from where we were staying, and I was so annoyed about it. Yeah, we went on like a Monday or something, and we assumed they'd be open, but I guess not.
Short-staffed.
Yep. But that town is really cute. I like it.
Yeah. My mom especially loved it. Like, she found her style on this trip, and it's like Southwestern.
Okay.
That's
cool.
It's kind of cool. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. All right. Well, I think we're done here.
Yep.
Thank you, Bella, for being on my show.
Thank you for having me. It was very fun.
Yeah, totally. And thanks to all you nomads out there for listening. If you want to be on the podcast, check out our link below or message us on Instagram at teens.onthe.road. Also, if you know any traveling teens, be sure to share Teens on the Road with them. Thanks for listening and have fun out there.